Hello there, dear one. It's wonderful to be here with you. I'm going to uh, put this up both as a video and I'll take the audio from it and I'll put it on the podcast because it's been so long since we did a podcast and I want to kind of get that going a little bit again. But I just want to say how nice it is to see you this way and to connect with you. And I've just come out for a late afternoon ramble, early evening. I'm sitting by the river, so I hope it's not too loud for you, the river in the background, but I just needed to be here. And yeah, I'm sorry for the gap in between things. I've just wanted to reply to a message that I've had, and so I thought I'd do that this way. The message came in through Instagram. And it's interesting these days that people are connecting more and more with myself through my work, through the kind of the meditation and the teachings and what have you. And so things come in through many routes. And I'm just sorry that it takes me so long. If you have been following me through various mediums, on Instagram and so on, you're more than welcome to follow me over there and stuff. You'll know that I've had a period of quite intense poorliness, and I've been working with my doctor in India, even though I'm in the UK. And I'm coming back slowly, but I barely make it through a day with enough energy to get to the end at the moment. And things are definitely improving, but everything's taking me like 2 weeks to reply to emails and stuff. That's the kind of backlog and stuff like that. So I do things in quite a strict order. So I'd like to actually request something of you, if you are thinking of kind of connecting with me, or you want to ask something about your path or things that are going on in life or whatever. And I'm more than happy to answer any question, Not that I know the answer, I let kind of presence or God, my soul, do all the work, and I just kind of keep turning up, keep opening myself up, keep getting out of my own way, so that I can kind of hear the voice of God and try to relate that through my limitations. But I seem to have been asked to do this and chosen to do this a little bit, and there's no effort in me or ego in me to try and kind of be right or to be something. There's lots of other things I could be getting on with, particularly playing my guitar and drinking coffee, quite honestly, and wearing funky shirts. But yeah, the thing I wanted to ask you is that if you do want to connect with me, okay, the very best place to do that is not through email, not through Instagram, not through the YouTube, not through the podcast, etc., etc., etc. Just come on to Insight Timer, the app Insight Timer, and search for my name, and you'll see there are 2 courses. One is called Self-Acceptance Through Authenticity, and one is called Making Magical Moments, which is meant to be a kids course, but actually it's a kind of try out lots of lovely creative things and meditate a bit, for people in touch with their inner child at any age, quite honestly, or who want to get in touch with their inner child. So there are classrooms there on both of those courses, and you can type me a message there and then I can leave audio replies. And this really works for me because it kind of centralizes what I'm doing. It also helps me have an income, which is fantastic, because my YouTube, I don't know if you know this or not, has been demonetized for about 6 or 7 years. I did a talk on a long time ago, like quite a long video, about an hour-long video on the use of the Hegelian dialectic. What I mean by that is like an organization or a system creates a problem, puts that problem in the world, lets everybody suffer with it for a while, and then offers itself as the solution. So so that it's kind of capitalizing upon us in every way possible. And I think that's what did it. And no matter how many times I appeal or write to Google or YouTube or whatever, they say, sorry, you're permanently banned. You can't have any monetization on your videos. And we can't tell you why, because if we told you why, then you would know why. You would know how our system works. And that's the thing. I want to know how the system works so that I can actually appeal it, but they're not going for it. They're a private business. They do what they do, so they're free to do that, of course. So let's take our, let's use it for what it is, which is why I don't put so much up there anymore. But let's, come into spaces where we are more welcome, where it is more open and stuff like that. You can also find me on Wellness Coach a few days a week. There's a wonderful app called Wellness Coach, and we've got a Facebook page too. And I teach live classes on there most weeks. So you can always ask me anything you want through there as well, and that helps too. So either of those, the Insight Timer course classrooms for my courses, or Wellness Coach, and you can come and sit with me and meditate with me as well, which is fantastic, or just listen to me talk away. Anyway, I got this beautiful message. I've actually had to copy it out of the Instagram messages, and I've put it together as if it's a letter. I won't say your name, but you'll know who you are. This is from a 22-year-old soul who has been seeking some of the answers that her soul has been pouring into her. And she says that she trusts in the universe and felt drawn to me in some way, through the kind of the presence that kind of radiates out through my media postings and so on. She says that she never felt that she belonged for some reason. Always has a mixture of attachment and detachment that comes along for every single person that she meets, or every single place that she's been. And for some reason, I've been having a strong longing for something or someone that I can't decipher. It's like rain is always drizzling inside my soul, but you tend to ignore it and don't pause so that you can live your day-to-day life. Otherwise, you worry that you're going to end up lost. And the only thing that works is long walks alone in your own company that gives you assurance. I've been searching for something. And for the last year, I was in a constant search to know my past. I was getting gut feelings that have something to do with it. Later, though, you told yourself that this world of the past, this thought, isn't taking me anywhere. But you feel this strong need to be within. So let's have a look at this little bit. I'll try and keep it short, So that feeling is actually in every person. And we override it every single day. And it's not the feeling towards ennui or the feeling of kind of this is all useless, although it can present itself in that way. We may just feel like a general dissatisfaction with our work, with our life, with the objects that we live through, with our relationships and so on. And that's because we've been trained to think that the answer to our lives is within certain things, within the society, within believing in a certain way, within a certain politic, within a certain way of presenting ourselves, within having an education or operating through certain systems financially and so on. And while all of those are valid because we do express ourselves as beings of form, so that's how we live as human beings, they're not the first and foremost within us. The first and foremost within us is our soul. And so you're absolutely right in that it's the journey in. But for most people, they think that the journey in comes through pushing into those things harder in some way, that being with oneself is somehow a doing, that there's something that you've got to do. And, I've got this book with me I would recommend to anybody, actually, which is the Teachings of Ramana Maharshi. And, I carry it round because it's just such a good friend. I'm not seeking to learn from it. That kind of time has kind of passed where my reading of books used to be to learn information. Now I tend to associate with other spiritual teachers, with the spirit of them through their words. So I'm kind of hanging out with my mates, as it were. And And I would concur with Ramana Maharshi when he says is that you're never away from the self. You're never away from awakening. You're never away from awareness, because that's actually who you are. But it's our belief in the duality that actually makes it seem like we're separated. So another teacher that I love very much, Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, and this is my own way of working too, actually, these days, said that his teacher told him just to find that thing that sings I am within himself, and just over the day, just gently allow that to be felt, and to notice where it's not expressed, notice where it's not felt. It's obviously not through anything that we say, how we present ourselves to somebody else, but we notice that the fears and the tensions and the graspings onto things all can kind of keep us in a place, you know, of kind of numbness, blankness, of kind of not being able to just be. Or we think that, okay, well, I'll just smoke this, or I'll just take that, I'll just do this kind of, you know, Peruvian ceremony or whatever, and that will kind of tear away those objects, and then I'll be free. And of course, that doesn't work either, because it's like climbing a ladder, and then you've got to stand up this ladder the whole time in order to keep that sense of yourself. Whereas the sense of yourself is who you already are, you know, underneath all of that. And it's that that's whispering out to you. It's that that's calling you on. But of course, when we're younger, and I don't mean this in age, as in physical age, I mean in terms of our grip and our identification with those egoic forms of consciousness, it's hard to see how we can move, how we can connect. And what I've been thinking about a lot recently is how when we see a problem, we tend to kind of over-focus on it, and then we kind of hammer away at that thinking we can break through. But what I think might be a better way to do is just open up one's sense of adventure in life, to start seeing all the areas of your life, the good and the bad as they seem to be when we speak dualistically, as being an adventure, and then looking at how we can actually bring our sense of self, adventure, and love to each of the aspects, not so that we have to stay with them, but so that we begin to kind of see through them and then decide how we want to express ourselves through those forms. Because the brain gets hardwired into a certain way, right? We actually have to start working with our neuroplasticity, and so having novel adventures. So that's why I come to the woods so much. That's why you'll always find me in these videos walking in the woods or doing this or that, you know? It's because I want to kind of keep things shifting and fresh and new, and I'm not looking for anything by being here. I'm not even looking for myself. All I'm doing is just keeping things moving, because the physical form, the brain, tends to hardwire, and so we have to kind of start undoing that kind of loom, that netting of wiring, and then we can actually start having some fun, you know, with it all. So it's too serious to treat too seriously. So in every area of your life, but particularly maybe looking at health, looking at what your idea of adventure and creativity is, just starting to let yourself kind of come out, you know. I'm going to stand up because my bottom's going numb sitting on this rock. Yeah, and so we carry on with our message. People close to me tend to say that I take things deeply, that you take on the miseries, that I take on the miseries of this world too personally, and maybe that is the same reason that they find comfort in me and find your words hopeful when I try to share a piece of peace with them. But you find it that you're unable to decide things for yourself. This undefined longing for the universe or whatever it is makes me question my being, the closure of me. It's like I'm far away. There you go, you've absolutely nailed it. We're by moving outwards, by trying to find it in something, you know, we are actually pushing away from ourselves. And so this distance, this gap is created. So let me invite you to just come the other way. You know, perhaps as you're listening to this now, or watching this, if you're watching the video version of it, just feel that sense of the I am now in yourself. Perhaps feel it as your five senses just operating in your whole body, and the sense of life in you. You know, just feel it. And I know your brain's going to take over, and I know you're going to think, okay, how do I do this? Am I getting it right? Am I doing this? We can be walled out by the noise of our own minds. So if that is happening, then perhaps just like feel the energy of that and the space that it takes place in. Just feel the space that all that thought is taking place in. And then that space that it's taking place in, that's you. That's the beginning of the sensation of yourself. It's not total, you know, but it's the beginning of it. And then make sure that you're grounded in your body. Make sure that you can feel the life in your body. And maybe just do this like 3, 4, 20, 30 times a day. And just get that sense of yourself, but don't space out. The difference is that you feel like you're here. You know, right now, even though I'm talking to this machine, I'm aware of my feet on the floor. I'm not putting my mind down in my feet. I'm just actually aware of everything around me. I'm aware of the space around me, the river, the rocks, the trees. I'm aware that I'm communicating to you. I'm aware of the little mosquito on my neck, you know? You say that you've come to the point where no amount of money, relationships, luxury makes you feel like you're at home. But like a jigsaw puzzle, somewhere something isn't right. There we go. That's what we're talking about. So you know already. You don't need me to tell you anything. And that's not the way I work anyway. I'm just here to remind you of yourself. Not even to point to it, because you know yourself already. And it's not through anything that you say or do, you know? You say that when these thoughts get too much a hold of you, you come to the point where you feel like hurting yourself or wanting to kill yourself. But I know somewhere that I can't do that life still goes on. But these questions still come to you, and you get lost inside of yourself. That's going to keep happening, you know. It just comes and comes and comes. But over time, if we work with this way that we're talking about of just feeling into the self, you know, and then just carrying on with your ordinary life, but bringing that sense of love and adventure into every area of your ordinary life. And I've seen people turn around so quickly with this. In my own life, I was in a very similar place in 2012, and by sort of autumn 2013, so I started working in this way, and by autumn 2013, that shift, that click that we talk about, moved into place. It's not like I did something. What I did was I spent my time learning how to be. And you can't, and it's not that the mind helps, actually. The mind starts to get on side. And it's not like the questions go away, but there's a deeper sense of yourself. And I found that the mind began to kind of actually, because it's so pleasurable, the state of actual being, of just being here with what is right now, you know. It's so deeply pleasurable and joyful and spontaneous that the mind wants to get on side. But at first, because we're working with that kind of heavy loom weave of ideas of who we are, that's neuroplasticized into our brains, then it's heavy load, it's heavy work. And so that's why I say, you know, a small sense of adventure about everything. Just enjoying yourself in your own sweet way, but not creating an identity through that. Just using those, it's adventures in freedom, adventures in being, adventures in sacredness, adventures in self. And you can always talk to me as long as I'm alive. I'll sit with anybody who's genuinely meeting themselves. And it's not about how far along you are. It's always about that sincerity. And, you know, people will present themselves to you as kings, as rulers, as queens, as rich people, as this, as that, or the lowest of the low. And I'm having the most problems, or I'm this and that, to try and kind of have some kind of status. But the only thing that matters really is consciousness, awareness, and sincerity that's not loaded in a kind of pain, but actually is that honest movement towards the self. And you can actually usually see it in somebody, in the kind of little twinkle that starts to come into their eye, more than they're kind of frowning and saying that they want to get on with things. You know what I'm saying? So bless you, my friend, and bless you everybody who's listening to or has watched this, if it's the video version. I'm just so grateful for all of you, and yeah, I just want to send you all my love. Anyway, I better crack on because I've got a meditation group this evening, and yeah, and I need a bit of time just by the river. So bless you, my dear friend, and I hope to hear from you soon. Lots of love. Take care of yourself, won't you?